In this week's episode of Working with Todoist, it's all about getting project headings into projects. Hello and welcome to another episode of Working with Todoist. My name is Carl Pauline, and in this week's episode I'm answering a question, or the most popular question, that came up from last week's 2018 setup video, and that was, how do I get in the outcome and the purpose into the project? What I basically did was I created a text field within Todoist Action Group so that I can see why I'm doing the project and what the outcome is expected to be. Now, actually, the reality here is there's two ways of doing this, and in this week's episode, I'm going to show you how to do that. So, before we get into this week's episode, though, I would just like to say, if you like this video, please click on that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. Okay, let's go straight into Todoist, and I'll show you how to do it. Right, there are two ways of actually adding in project outcomes, or project notes if you like. And we'll look at the first one, which is probably the simplest one. And a lot of people don't actually realize this is here. But actually, if you go into the project, so we have a normal project set up here. I've just set up in my demo account a 2019 annual brand plan. So that's just a standard project that we have set up here. Now inside, when you click on the actual project, what you get is the actual project window. Now what most people don't realize is we have a notes section here. So they call it project comments. So if you click on that, you open up a normal notes field. Now the thing about this is you can actually use your text formatting keys to get this into bold or italic or whichever way you want to do it. So you can actually use this here. So if you don't want to actually have to see the project notes or the outcomes, your purpose in the actual project window, and you want to have that kept separately, that this is the way forward, or this is the way to do it. Now of course here you've, just while I'm in this section, for those of you who are pretty new to Todoist, we still have the action here where you can actually use your Dropbox or your Google Drive or just drag and drop files in here. So I just wanted to drop that one out because I haven't mentioned that one for a while. So let's say that we've got this 2019 annual brand plan, and we've got the we're setting this up as a new project, so we're going to go for outcome, so we can just type in outcome, and let's just say that we're going to do this in bold, so you can just use the exclamation mark and either side, if I remember correctly, that's the bold, and you can hit return and you get a new line. So the outcome could be to create a realistic plan that will increase our sales by over 55% next year and earn our team not only big bonuses and I'm going to the big, I can't spell again, big bonuses, and not only but the recognition, let's say, but the recognition. Again, we can't spell recognition of the whole company. And now the thing is if you remember the RPM video that I did a while ago, you'll find that Tony Robbins recommends that you juice this up. And so that's why I've juiced this up again. So to create a realistic plan that will increase our sales by over 55% next year and earn our team not only big bonuses, but the recognition of the whole company. Now, if you click add the comment, you'll see now that we've got outcome in bold, and we've got the text related to the outcome in normal text. Now you can do the same here. So we're going to put in for purpose. So I'm going to capitalize purpose, and you can tip that and then hit return. And then we can say, we want to be the leading sales team in the company. Whatever it is for your why. Remember, the why is very important. And again, what we want to be doing is juicing that up whichever way you can do. But again, once you hit that add comment section, now that what you've done is you've created the actual outcome and purpose within the notes section. So now when I click out of that, I've got the note is here and it's showing up 2 comments, so you can have that in there, and that's one way of doing it. So that's one way if you don't want to see the outcome and the purpose in the actual project window. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save ourselves a lot of time. I'm going to copy that. If I go into the edit function, I can copy the whole text. Just to save us a lot of time, and I'm typing that out again when I show you the next bit. So that's one way. Now the way that I showed you in last week's video is the way that I prefer to do, which is I like to be able to see the actual purpose and outcome in the project window. Now, the biggest question I got is how do you get that to show the text up at the top? Well, the simple way to do that, and somebody did point out in the comment section, is hit the asterisk key, then hit the space, and then you type your text. It's asking for that isn't exactly what I want to do, but that's okay. So we've got the text in there. Now, actually, what's happened there is a good example. If you don't use the asterisks, you're going to get one of these, which is actually the clickable link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to put the asterisks in here. So hit the star, asterisk, space, and now that has become an unclickable link. So that's there. We've actually got a date in there as well. So I want to remove the date. So we remove the date. So to create a realistic plan that will sales by over, that will increase our sales. We want to put in next year because that's what's missing. And click out that one. And then so we've now got the text in there. And then the only thing that I haven't, and then what we need to do next is to create the next part, which is we're going to put in the star, and we're going to put in purpose. So again, we want to be bolding that. So I'm going to hit bold. And then put the exclamation marks either side. So we've got that. Again, it's a non-clickable link. Let's go into the notes section. This time I'll copy it properly. So I want to just copy this. It's just the easiest way to do it. Just do that. Hit copy. And then I can type that in here. Again, what we need to do is hit the asterisk, space, and then V to come to save it. And there we go. So now I've got the outcome and the purpose in there. Now, what I also do is just add, for myself, I would just add the asterisks again. So put the asterisks in and a bold, and you can put your action steps or whatever you want to call it right there. And that's it. And then underneath that, you just create the normal to-do list. So there's the 2 ways that you can do this within Todoist. You can actually create it through the notes section, which if you don't want to see your outcome and your purpose in the project window, then this would be the way to go forward, and you can create it in there. Alternatively, and I say this is my preferred way, is I like to see the outcome and the purpose, just because there are days when you just feel I'm not in the mood. And it's a good reason to be able to just remind yourself about why you're doing it. And of course, sometimes within a project, particularly those long-winded projects, it's very easy to forget the outcome. And really, it's the outcome that's more important than the tasks. So when you've got the outcome front and center on top of you, then that is one of the areas that you would like. It can help you to be able to keep your eye on what the purpose and the outcome. So that's a normal project. Now, for those of you doing the areas of focus, it would actually work in exactly the same way. Again, you can create it through the notes section, but with your health and fitness, of course, you're making it personal. But I would say that you go through all of your projects, and over time, you don't have to do this in one sitting, just add in your outcome and your purpose. And whether you want to do that through the project notes window, which is right there, or you want to do it through the outcome and purpose, that's entirely up to you. Okay, hopefully that's answered the question. That it was the most common question from my video last week when I showed you my setup, and hopefully that's answered that for all those people who are curious about how to do that. And I also wanted to point out that the additional way that you can do it if you don't want to actually see it every time you open the project window. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching this episode of Working with Todoist. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked what you saw and you would like to learn more about becoming better organized and more productive, then get yourself enrolled in my free beginner's guide to building your own productivity system. And if you'd like to learn more about how I can help you, then visit my website at carlpullein.com. All the details are in the show notes below.